Hello, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. This is Tuesday night. How everybody doing? This is TNT Tuesday Night Talk. This is where we soar. We speak it, orate it, articulate it, and reverberate it. In other words, we just saying it. I'm trying to make sure that I'm live here. Yes, yes. So I'm here again on this wonderful Tuesday night. It's very interesting how time flies. It seems like I was just on here and a week has gone by already. So that's why it's so important that whatever you've been called to do, you learn to start doing it and walk in it. I'm serious because you look up one day, I was thinking about when I was 35. For some reason, 35 always was a good time for me, and here it is, 20 some odd years later. So I am an advocate for going and to do what you've been called to do. I'm serious because look at life. Look at life. Oh my gosh. And I look around and I see so much going on. I see not even just in the world, but just even our communities, how we've lost people, just so many different things. And so when I was thinking, when I was coming on, I was thinking, I said, wow, it's Tuesday already. And we were just celebrating, it seems like a new year was coming in. 2021, and here it is, we're halfway into March. So I would just encourage everybody, regardless of what you've been called to do, to get on it and start working it, because life, it keeps right on moving. It keeps right on moving. Hey, Miss Karen, thank you for coming on. Hello, Sharon, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on. So tonight, I just want to talk about some stuff. I'm excited as always because I understand that I have a mandate on my life, and we all do. And the thing is, once you actually realize that you're walking in the thing that you've been created to do, it gives you a sense of fulfillment. It gives you a sense of being excited about, finally, God, I'm walking in what you've called me to do. I'm actually doing the things that I'm supposed to do. And so I am so excited about coming on Tuesdays, even though some days I'm tired, but I understand the importance, not just for you guys, for me too. It's therapeutic for me too. And so again, my name is Annette L. Anderson. I'm with TNT Tuesday Night Talk, and this is where we soar. We speak it, orate it, articulate, and reverberate it. And when you look at the acronyms of SOAR, it's all about talking and speaking. And so that's what I'm about. This is what this particular platform is about, to encourage you to speak life into you, to let you know that regardless of what society says, because society will tell you that certain things you can't do. So you have to some kind of way dig deep on the inside and be determined that regardless of what society says, even your family and your friends, sometimes they're not always that encouraging, but you have to know what you've been called to do and then walk into your greatness. And I don't care if your greatness is, maybe you've been called to cook and that's not my thing, or maybe you've been called to do some other things. Whatever it is, I want to encourage somebody to know today, to let them know that regardless of what life says, regardless of what you see on television, regardless of what you see even in your own personal lives, some of your own personal struggles, and some of the things we go through, just be encouraged tonight. Be encouraged that you have what it takes, but you got to take what you have. It's one thing to have what you take, but you got to take what you have and use that to build your business or your organization or whatever that thing is. And I think what happens a lot of times, we get discouraged because we know what we want to do on the inside, and we've tried, and there have been times we fail and we tried again. But I want to encourage you tonight to go try again. Don't give up on what you've been called to do. Try again, go again, do again. You know, we have to sometimes go back two, three, four, five times. I've always knew that I was supposed to do certain things. I just didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how, what steps I should take. I didn't know how I was going to be received. We already have a lot of times we talk ourselves out of our dreams and vision. We tell ourselves all the things that we can't do. Well, I can't do this, and I don't know if I'll be able to do that, and we begin to tell ourselves all kind of foolishness. But I want to encourage you that you have what it takes. Um, you have, hey, Anita, you have what it takes to get to the next level. You have it. You have. When I look at let me tell you something, I get excited. When I look at my life over the years, I've had people to encourage me in some areas, but I didn't think that I was going to make it, right? I've always had a gift for gab. Hey, Michelle, I was always quick with it. I was always been able to, if you say something, I'm on it. I just thought I had a smart mouth. I didn't realize that God was going to use that, to prepare me into my destiny. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, what I considered a slick mouth that, it was going to be used. Hey, Tanya. And so tonight, as always, I want to encourage. I said it all the time, and that will always be my platform. That will always be what I talk about. I will always push you. I will always encourage you. I will always let you know that you can make it, because oftentimes, we read the word and all that, and that's a wonderful thing because that's my source. But sometimes when we see somebody else made it, we see somebody else overcame, we see somebody else that was able to walk into their destiny, because we look at people who what we consider made it, whatever area you're looking to go into, and we look at these people and we think it's something special about them. No, it's nothing special about them other than that God made them. The difference is they decided to step out and take a chance. And me and Anita often talk about how we stepped off the ledge. And it's one thing to talk a game, but it's another thing to do it. So now when I get on the ledge and I'm gonna jump off that ledge, now what? So you got to know without a doubt you've been called. So just in case if you step off that ledge and you don't quite make it, that don't mean you're a failure. It just means there's another step that you need to take to get where you're going. And so along the way, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall. There'll be times, there'll be times I fell and I stayed down a long time because, I didn't think I had what it took. I'm sorry. I didn't think I had what it took. So I actually ended up with somebody else. See, one of the most important things that I think that we need to get with somebody that's going to encourage us. We got to get with somebody like-minded. And also, I always say this, and I'm sure it's not original, but if you're the smartest one in your group, then you may need a new group. If I was the smartest one in the movement, I'd be in trouble because half stuff I don't know how to do. Half stuff I don't even understand. So it always got to be somebody that know a little bit more than you, because how are you going to ever get that nudge or that push into destiny unless you have that person saying, girl, you got it, girl, you better rock. And that is so important. And ladies, I'm talking to the men too, but ladies, make sure you don't uh take the crown off the queen head. We want to drag another sister, but if I put that crown on your head, trust me, I'm going to make sure it's straight. And I'm not putting up that crown on your head so I can just talk about what I did. No, I want to encourage women. Also, I want to encourage men too. But I want to encourage you to let you know that you are a queen. Yes, you are. And you have what it takes. But like I said, you got to take what you have. Whatever that thing is. Some of you guys are so smart. You're business minded. Some of you have so many ideas, and some of you guys have original ideas that nobody else have done before. And just because it have not been done before don't mean it can't be done, because what's happening is waiting on you to do it. It's waiting on you to go to the next level. It's waiting on you to have that passion and that drive, that tenacity that you need to get to where you're going. And that is so important that you have that. That's so important that you have that thing that nudges you. That thing that even when you're tired sometimes, You're tired and you don't seem like you can make it, but you say, you know what though? But I got to do this. I come on here all the time. I tell my friends, I'm so used to being on another ministry with another person, and so we kind of feed off each other, which is a great thing. I mean, it's a fantastic organization that we have. Hey, Sherry. But what happens is now, okay, it was wonderful that me and her jumped together. But what happened when you got to jump by yourself? What happens when you have to be that person that says, okay, here it goes. Now I'm getting ready to go to the next level. Am I going to be able to do this? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. You know how many times I talk to myself and encourage myself? I'm sort of like David. I had to encourage myself because maybe there'll never be anybody to pat you on the back and say, "Attaboy." Maybe nobody will never be able to tell you have what it takes. So you have to determine, am I who God say that I am? And then so you have to take that and begin to build on that. The problem that a lot of us have, and I'm guilty too, is my foundation. See, I was trying to build something and my foundation was raggedy. I was trying to build on something that was not able to sustain what I was going to do. So now I had to go back to my roots. I had to go back and make sure my foundation was fortified in order to begin to build on it. And so I think over the years, that's where my failure came. I knew I was called to do something and I started building. Didn't have a clue, because when you build a house, there are certain dynamics you have to use. You have to, you have to do the ground in such a way. You have to lay the foundation and make sure it sets right. They have to come out and inspect every step that you make when you're building a house. When I added on to my house, the inspector came every step of the way. First, I had to go and get a permit. Because if you don't get a permit and you start building, they're gonna come and make you tear it down. So I had to get the permit, and I started, and of course I didn't start anything. My son-in-law started building, and so I watched him as he built. I watched him as he laid the brick and poured the cement. I watched the process, and it was amazing. What started out with bricks ended up being a whole nother section to the house, and so that's why it's so important that when you're building on something, make sure that your foundation is secure. One of the things that the movement had to do, we started off great. We was running full steam ahead. But what we ended up having to do, we had to go back to the beginning. We had to go back and say, wait a minute. It's wonderful what we did, but we need to go and regroup. So we had to regroup and rebuild. And then we had to look at what we had put together and see where were the changes that was needed. See, oftentimes when you're building something, just because this is the way you wanted it from the beginning does not mean it don't need to be tweaked, because you have to tweak and you have to build where you're going, because where we're going, we could not have what we had a year ago or 2 years ago. We had to build where we're going. If we say we're worldwide, then we have to be able to represent with what we have. And so that was so important. And so once we went back and went back to the drawing board and looked at what we had, we said, wow, let's do this and do this and do this, add here, take away there, change the logo. We did a lot of things and we're still changing. And so things started to happen. Now you can see when you look at the logo, you can see, oh my gosh, yes, they are worldwide. Even if you don't see the name, it has something to do with world. And so that was some of the things that we had to do. And it was a learning experience for me, because when I say I came in, I ain't know nothing. I came in so dry. But you know what? Even if you don't know, let me share this with you, and this is for free. This free. Even when you don't know, it's okay, because that's why it's so important to connect to the right people. Because I don't care how smart you are, how great you are. I don't care if you went to college and you had the 4.0 plus or whatever else you can get, a master's or doctor. Somebody got to help you along the way. Somebody's got to be there to pull you and to help you. So, I came along and I didn't have a clue. But you know what I had? I had what I needed on the inside, that I was willing to learn. I was willing to go to the next level. I was so determined that, I would sit, and as I was being taught certain things, and the person would tell, well, when the person was Anita, would tell me over and over, and I'd be like, okay, huh? Okay, what now? I was like, huh? What you say? And I would do it over, and after a while, it came together, and it makes sense because I wasn't computer savvy. So what happens is we allow our deficiencies to stop us from getting to our destiny, because we start telling ourselves that what I don't have and what I can't do and who I won't be. But I started telling myself, I don't have everything I need, but I know somebody who does. I, it's a global ministry. All right, Nita. I know somebody who does. I know who can help me get to the next level. I know who can push me. I know who I can call anytime. Say, girl, what? And they may laugh at me and say, child, I don't know what this is. Somebody asked me something today at work. I said, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? And she told me, oh, so okay. I didn't have a clue. I have a clue. I have a clue what she was talking about. But as time progressed, then things started to happen, and then I saw the growth, and I started remembering stuff and said, "Wow, this is what this is." Oh man, and stuff just started coming together. So I'm on here tonight, as always, to encourage you and to push you where you need to be. Now, understand that this walk is not always an easy walk, but it's a necessary walk. See, I had to walk through what I walked through, and I didn't understand it at the time. Even from in my beginning of my life, I did not understand why God took me the way He did. But as time progressed, I understand now that it was necessary. It was necessary. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate your help. It was so necessary for me to get to where I needed to be. So I had to keep pushing and keep going. I always, because I was always laugh at myself because I didn't want to become frustrated, and I didn't want to become come to the go to the point that I don't want to do it anymore. I wanted to, even though it did not work this time. I said, you know what? I'm gonna get up and dust myself off. And I told a story before about falling off the bike and hurting myself, but you know what? I got and I dust myself off, and I kept going. Now, yeah, was I hurt? Yeah, was I scraped up? Yes, but it was necessary. And so when I perused through my life and I looked from 10 to 15 to 20, all the different stages of my life, I began to see the blocks coming together. I began to see who I really am. For so long, y'all, I struggled in that area because I didn't know who I was, and I struggled. I knew I was somebody, and I knew God maybe, but what I mean by I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. There is nothing like knowing what you're supposed to do. I was talking to my friend earlier. There's nothing like knowing who what you've been called to do and walking in that. There's such a satisfaction, even when you don't have everything in place, even when everything don't gel together. There's a satisfaction knowing that I'm in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And so that's what keeps me going. And so I have such a passion for that. And I also have a passion to see other people succeed because you know what I've learned that oftentimes you have something on the inside of you that somebody needs. And so somebody can't go to the next level because you have their destiny wrapped on the inside of you. So that's why it's imperative that we get to the place that we can walk in our greatness. We get to the place that we're able to walk, believe, walk, fall, walk, get up, but keep going. And that's why it's so important. So tonight, I just want to share that I always want I want to inspire somebody. I think one of the things I'm going to start doing on here too, on Tuesdays, I'm going to come on with a quote, not necessarily my quote, or whoever quote. And a lot of times I find with quotes, they inspire you because they say, a lot of times quotes say stuff that we want to say, but we really don't know how. And that's just like the word of God. There are things that we are feeling, but we don't know how to articulate it. We don't know how to put it into words. And so I love quotes so much because quotes give you an idea, about where I am right now. Because you do know there's different levels in life. There's different areas. There are times when you're so doggone frustrated, you don't know which way to go. There are sometimes you want to just ball up in a knot and cry. And there's other times you're jubilant, happy. But you know what? It all comes together. The Bible says that everything worked together for the good of them who love the Lord, who are the called according to his purpose. So everything comes together and it comes out for your good. So when you look back over your life, even those terrible times, even those times you cried and you start looking where you are, you can't help but say, you know what, God, I thank you because I didn't think I'd never be here. I didn't never really think I'd amount to anything. To be honest, I always thought, and I don't understand why, I didn't think I was going to make it to 50. I don't know. You know how your mind is. And that's the trick of the enemy, trying to tell you what you can't be and trying to delay your destiny. But see, I'm in where I am now in my life. The enemy can't delay my destiny. Only I I can delay my destiny. And I just decided that I'm going to walk in my destiny. I just decided that regardless of what it looks like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to keep believing. And I'm going to keep trusting. And I see my friend Anita on here. And Anita, can I bring you in? You don't want to come in? Your hair? All right, all right. But she don't want to come in. But anyway, thank you so much. I feel you, girl. I know about that. So tonight, I want to just touch on something a little bit. I'm going to talk about the seed. I've been on the seed thing. And it's so important about the seed. It's important that we learn how to plant seed. It's important that we understand when the seed goes into the ground, it germinates and begins to build. I looked at a video the other day of a seed, and it actually went into the ground. It was so interesting how what was on the inside of the seed. See, it wasn't so much the seed per se, but it was on the inside of the seed. See, now we're all a seed, but what's on the inside of you? What is that thing on the inside of you that's waiting to burst out? And when I watched that video, I should have brought it. Oh, maybe I'll bring it next week. When I watched it, all of a sudden the seed opened up. It actually burst open, and what was on the inside started coming forth. And that's how we are. God said, I'm waiting on you. You the seed. He said, but I put some on the inside of you. I'm waiting for it to come forth. And there's some work you got to do. See, the seed just not going to grow by itself. They had to put it in the ground. They had to put some fertilizer. They had to water it. There's a process. And so what happens is we got a seed, but we don't do anything with the seed. We just walk around with the seed. We carry the seed. We brag about the seed. But God said, you got to do something with the seed. So he takes what you have to do is take what God has given you and begin to work it. You begin to work because see, listen, you can go and lay 5 seeds on a table and they're going to just be that a seed. But until you take that seed and plant it, until you take that seed and do what it needs to be done with it, and then you will see what can happen with that seed. And that's why I've been dealing with the seed on different levels. I've been dealing with the importance of the seed, why we need the seed, the purpose of the seed, and that we are a seed. We're a seed. We're seed because when I come on here, my prayer is that I say a word, some words, something that allow that thing on the inside of you to begin to burst forth. To allow that thing on the inside of you to go to the next level. So I want to deal with something tonight. And I won't keep you long because, I talk a long time. I don't want to keep talking. I just love to talk. But anyway, and so this the scripture tonight is going to be coming from Ecclesiastes 11:6. And the Bible says, in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they shall be alike good. And then another translation said, do your planting in the morning and in the evening too. You never know whether it will all grow well or whether one plant will do better than the other. So when we plant a seed, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's saying do your planting in the morning, do your planting in the evening. Take that thing that you have and begin to utilize it. In the morning in this particular text, it means early and late, in all seasons, on all occasions. Do it swiftly. Don't be weary, whether it's late, whether it's early. Begin to plant that a seed, whether sunshine or whether it rains. Plant that seed. See, because your morning may not be in the a.m. Your morning may be 1 in the morning. Your morning may be 12 during the day, but you have a responsibility in the morning to plant that seed. So that's our job, to keep planting seeds, not planting seeds and giving back to others. And even though we have a seed on the inside, we have a responsibility to plant a seed. Tell somebody that God loves them. See, somebody needs to know. Somebody needs to know that someone loves them. Somebody needs to know that they got this. There are people who need a word. Hey, Sharice, there are people who don't necessarily always understand what's going on. So they're struggling. I see it all the time. I see craziness. I see people losing their mind. I see so much going on. And so now what we have to do, we have to take that seed that God has given us and plant that seed and give it to somebody. So when we come on Tuesdays, when we come we come on Wednesdays, and Anita come on Saturdays and Sundays and the other days that and also she do ministry on Monday. Monday, we have a responsibility to plant a seed. And so what that seed is, it's a word. Now, there's different seed. Now, there's a seed that's a word. That's when you're pouring into somebody, and then that's the seed that's on the side of you, inside of you. So that seed on the inside of you, you have to make sure you cultivate that seed, because God is trying to do something with you. God is trying to take you somewhere. So we come on and we plant a seed. We come on and tell you it don't matter the season, it don't matter the time. And I see I see Evangelist Robin on here, and my condolences to her. And I watched even the videos. I want to talk about you in a few minutes, darling. I watched the videos when she was a young man. I think it was an ex-husband, and how she sowed a seed in his life. She understood that the doctor gave him X amount of time, but not until the Lord called him in did he go. But in the meantime, she was able to continue to sow into his life. I watched the videos. I may not always say, but I watched, and that was a blessing to me. And I looked at you. I said, God, look at this woman planting a seed in this man's life. And knowing that he's getting ready to leave, but she made sure he knew God, even if whether he did or didn't at that time, but she made sure she sowed the seed. So that's why it's so important that we sow that seed, because you don't know what's going on in a person's life. I can remember when I was much younger, I was very suicidal. And my mom just thought I was crazy. But my stepdad, I remember, I never forget him, uh how he blessed me this one time. And we're talking, and I didn't really think about it until years later, how when I was real young, probably about 13, some that age. And I decided, I was frustrated and I didn't want to live no more. So I took all these pills. And my mom was like, whatever, just shut up and sit down over there. And he was adamant. He was adamant about get me somewhere to make sure they pump my stomach and stuff. And so at the time, I didn't understand how God used him, because even at that age, the enemy wanted to take me out. Even then, I see so many times when I see people who commit suicide, I can relate to that. I know people say, "Oh, that don't make no sense. Why would you want to kill yourself?" You could get so low and so down, and that you don't want to live anymore. And so I remember how, he was determined. He was determined that mom was going to take me to the doctor and to the hospital, actually to the emergency room. And she did. And so, of course, you know the story. I'm still here. And so even then, hey, Wendy, I didn't even understand the seed that he planted in my life. I didn't understand the logistics of what I went through at that age. All I know is that, I was mad and I didn't want to live no more. And the world, by world, because I didn't want to be here. But see, God, along this walk, God will always place somebody with a seed to sow in somebody's life. When I was growing up in a couple ladies in the church, Sister Mother Britton, man, that lady poured into my life. Again, I was annoyed because I didn't want to go to church. But see, during that time, you didn't have a choice. You got your tail up and you went to church. And so I remember, and I wrote a little bit about it in the book. And I remember how she would say things to me. And then years later, it's almost like I could hear her whispering in my ear. You know what that was? It was a seed. It was a seed. So it's so important that you make sure that you plant a seed in somebody's life. Somebody needs what you have. Somebody needs that. And I'm speaking from personal experience. And the Bible going to say, sow that seed. They say, do all good works. Give. It actually means to disseminate, to plant, to sow. So we have a responsibility to sow the seed, not just give seed. We have to sow. So sow the seed. Sow the seed in somebody's life. Make sure you impart. That's sort of like an impartation in somebody's life. Words are important. Words actually can take you out. Words can either make things go great, because again, see, I tell my story because I can't tell nobody else's story like I tell my own. And I remember somebody telling me one time, nobody will ever want you. At the time I had three little girls. Who you think gonna want you with all these children? I had three little girls, and for years I thought, you know what? Nobody gonna want me. Nobody gonna want me. Hey, but that the enemy is definitely uh um he's a liar. So I'm gonna bring Anita on. I want her to share with me, what because she don't know but I want her to share with me, as I want her to share to me about that seed and the importance of the seed, and even times when seeds were sown in her life, and when seeds, and she had to sow seeds in other people's life. So I'm gonna bring her on now. Hey, Anita,
Hello.
thank you for coming on. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. I was I had a sleep study, so I was a mess. I was like, oh gosh, you can't bring me on now. But what a blessing so far.
Yeah. So I really want you to talk about the seed, even though, now listen, me and her didn't talk about nothing because I just saw a pop up down there like, hey, they're gonna need them. You know,
No, we didn't.
no, we didn't talk about nothing. But I
Hmm.
really want you to I don't know, come on and just share. Just give a little insight, because you have all kind of gems that you have tucked away. Um,
Well, it's
if you
funny that
would.
you should be on that subject tonight because I just went through I was on a call about investments, and
Oh,
it was a bunch of, a lot of preachers and
oh, amen.
people, it's, people in the Christian community who are in tune to investing in stocks and those kinds of things. So there's a lady that was speaking, and she was talking about how she owns almost every property on her block, and it all started with her sowing a seed.
Wow.
She sold $1,000 seed into someone, and from that seed, she became a person who was inheriting properties from a civil organization that she was affiliated with. So of course she's a multimillionaire. And at the time, I was sitting and contemplating, like certain things about the seeds that I'm sowing. Where am I going to put these seeds? I literally was in the middle of that, and then I log on, and then I saw, I think it was Michelle who said something about watermelon seeds. It just popped in my mind. I'm like, I was just talking about seeds. I was actually writing on my paper about seeds because I'm, distributing seeds because I'm believing God to reap a harvest. And the Bible says that God gives seeds to the sower. He gives seed to the sower. And so when you're a person who has sown, now mind you, sowing is more than just about money. It's more than just it's money, it's time, it's your talents, your gifts, things that you do for other people, like services. I provide a lot of services for people that I do out of the kindness of my heart, trying to help, especially if you don't have the money. It's never about the money for me when it comes to helping somebody advance in business, or who don't really know how to set up their website, social media, whatever gift I have. In every area of my businesses, I sow into other people. And so, just to give you a prime example, last year was a tough year. 2020 was a very tough year. And there were times, because I'm an entrepreneur, there were times that I didn't think that I was going to make it because, not all of the business weren't prospering. And, everybody was pulling out. And when people are strapped for jobs and time and money, and nobody's making money, those extra little things outside of your bills get cut off. And I'm one of those extras. But what ended up happening was God shifted things where I wasn't dealing with the individual anymore. I was dealing with companies who had the money, and they're the ones who started booking clients and doing things with my services. So it kept me afloat. And in the middle of that season, my computer broke. I didn't know how, and you know how I depend on my computer, Annette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know that if my computer is not working, I'm a hot mess because I'm literally on it every day until the wee hours of the morning because I'm constantly working on something. I'm constantly doing projects. And what ended up happening was there was one of my followers, one of our listeners, um, in several of the different aspects with movement, eat well, live well, be well, all of the things that I do. She's just a person who has always been blessed by whatever things that I've been doing. And she hit me up and said, I keep seeing you complain about this computer, and you keep hitting the computer, and I see you online hitting the computer and tapping the computer. She said, but God has led me, because you said one night, you and Annette was speaking, and you guys said that God has blessed us to be a blessing. And now I'm going to use my blessing to be a blessing. And she bought me a computer. Now the computers that I use are not $500 and $600 and $700 computers. We're talking about almost $3,000 computer, and that's an example of when you are giving and sowing, and this is a life that I had previously sown into, not only monetarily but in other areas. And God will give seed to the sower. If you have the heart to sow, He will give you seed to sow. And guess what? When you sow it, it'll always come back because you're going to reap.
Yeah. Yeah, because I put up here where somebody asks, "How do you know what the seed is?" So
Mm-hmm.
yes. Hopefully we answer that for you, because it took me a minute to figure it out, because I always thought seed was money too, but seed is no, it's more than money. It's like she said, it's time. It's
No, it's money
giving of
too
your
now.
yeah, it is money, because
It's money too.
I got to put the other one up. It's definitely money,
Because
y'all.
you have
It's
the
money.
purpose in your heart. You have the purpose in your heart. Okay, I'm going to give X amount of dollars. And then, you have to sow into good soil. Like, I don't mind when I come on to Tuesday Talk, it's not even a thought in my mind. When I'm listening to you, I'm going to sow a seed. And I purpose that in my heart. I'm not just going to come and soak up the hour and just sit here. I'm going to not only sow my time by listening, because I'm not sowing my time by listening. Honestly, it is, I'm supporting you. So there's an element of that. However, I'm going to also sow into the person who's sowing the word into me, because I know that even you being on here, using your stream and all of the stuff that you have to do, those things aren't free. And you have things that you have to do in order to continue to sow into the lives of people.
Yeah,
Your book
yeah.
wasn't free, even though we buy it, but people don't know the story behind that $15 that they're giving is only a drop in the bucket as to what you've invested in it.
Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
That is so true. That
Mhm.
is so true. So
Mhm.
that's why I come on, and that my goal is to encourage. You know,
Mhm.
my goal is to let you know that regardless of what it may look like, and it can look bad, it can,
Right.
but I've been through some stuff trying to make sure it all come together, because again, when I was talking earlier about when sewing, one of the things Nita is actually, she's very savvy when it comes to computer. So you think, okay, let me see, how can I say? So, okay, she just graduated from college, right? I'm in the second grade.
Stop.
I'm in the second grade. So here's this college educated woman trying to teach this little second grader how to work computer. But all of that is, yeah, I'm really probably not exaggerating either. But all that, it came together because sewing, it made a difference. Like putting this together, what I'm, the everything that you see, I didn't know. I mean, I just come and I just click live and let the good times roll. Let's go with it. But no, it's more to it than that. Because once you figure out what you've been called to do, then what you want to try to do is, I want to perfect that. I want to be the top of my game. I want to be the best and that I could be. I want to make sure that I turn over every rock to make sure
Right.
that I learn what I need to learn, not just to have information and the flaunt information. No, I want to take that and I want to give it to somebody else.
Mhm.
Like Wendy said it earlier, pay it forward. I want to give it to
Mhm.
somebody else. I want to encourage somebody else. I want to touch somebody else's life. I want them to know that you can overcome. Listen, if I could, I tell people all the time, if I could do it, oh, listen, oh, I wish sometime I could have videoed some of the carrying on I did.
But just think about it too this way though, in that when we're what we're doing and what you're doing tonight, this is you're sowing. You're sowing into the futures of everybody that's listening. You're
True.
sowing into their lives and their children's lives, their children's lives, and you're sowing into the lives of your children, your family, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, and long after you're gone, guess what? Those harvests are going to still be
Yeah.
coming. You're sowing, and
Yeah.
it's going to reap. So what you're sowing into is legacy.
It's true.
And
It's
that's
true.
why it's important that we not only, not only should we consider where our money goes. Of course we have to consider, like, hey, when I'm giving up my when I'm giving my money and I'm sowing into ministries, I'm sowing into nonprofit organizations and charities, and you set aside that amount of money that that you're planning to sow, that seed money. So you're sowing into good soil, you're investigating and knowing the soil that you're sowing into. And you know that the ground is ready. You know that the harvest is going to reap. You know that there's going to be harvest in spring. So when you're sowing those seeds, you do it with that mindset like, okay, I'm believing that the harvest is going to be plentiful. And guess what? It's not just all for me, but
Yeah,
it's for anybody who needs a piece of this harvest.
exactly.
Mhm.
Because one good thing about technology, you can go back 5 years from now. It's amazing. I was looking at Jake's earlier tonight, and he preaching was an old message, and it don't matter. It just says as
Irrelevant.
poetry. Oh my gosh, so
Still relevant.
yeah, relevant. And if you go back and look at even some of my videos or whatever, it's relevant. And when I came on and I was talking about a seed, I even think, to be honest, I've been talking about a seed for this is the third week. I didn't even think about sowing a seed. That wasn't even on my mind, but I was talking about the seed on the inside. But listen here, I ain't got a problem with the green seeds, okay? I just thought
Hmm.
I'd throw that in there.
Well,
But
you know
but
what?
it's
Even in ourselves, like when we're sowing into our own lives, though, in that, because, like, for instance, we had to step out. I heard you mention us earlier with the
oh
movement and
yeah,
all of the stuff that we went through. Lord, let me tell you, the Bible says that those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Oh my gosh, we sowed enough tears to reap
yeah.
a million years of joy. So when we look at how we've sown, not only in tears and in prayer but in study and in preparation, the late nights that we've been up writing ebooks and
Oh,
developing
God.
websites and content and backgrounds and thumbnails, all of that stuff. And it didn't, a lot of it may have come a little easier to me, but I still had to learn. Remember the countless nights that I've been up reading books just to learn how to do certain things, I mean, watching videos just to learn how to do a landing page. So, and some of it comes naturally to some people, but I had, some people have to work for it. And then, and that the nights that you have sown into yourself to educate yourself, even when you thought it was the biggest thing in the world that you learned how to color your logo. But
Listen,
now
I had a
you're
ride.
creating thumbnails and it's amazing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I went in Canva and I put my scriptures and my edits and I'm like, look at her. I just
Mhm.
changed the background and I did. I'm like, all right.
Yup.
But
Cause
you sow time into your mindset, into your brain. You sow time into your efforts, and it did not return void. You reaped
yeah.
bountifully because now, even when you didn't want to come on camera to do just the regular little 1 minute video, you on here and we can't get you to shut up after an hour.
I know it. Cause I remember when like she said, when my logo, my NAism, and when I changed colors, let me tell y'all something. I changed every color in the rainbow. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna do it purple now. Oh, I'm gonna do it red. I made sure I did all my logos in a different color, so I could change it. But now I don't do that anymore. But okay, now I have one of the people here. She said, I think it's Adafa. I hope I pronounced the name right. She said,
Mhm.
when she said, you see what she said? You see it?
Yes, yes,
She,
it helped me figuring my purpose in the seed aspect for myself. Yes.
you want
Yes.
to address that?
I mean, basically, she's saying what we're saying. Like, the thing is, your purpose behind your seed that you're sowing. Because I know there's some things that I want, and that's why when I said I was on this call tonight, Adolpha, there are some things that I want. And when I looked at, this one lady speaking about the properties that she owned, there were some things that I have not even talked to Annette about that I want us to do with Movement Worldwide. And I know sometimes when I come to her with ideas, she's like, "What? Really? You got to go every week on Power Out Sunday?" That kind of thing. And I'm like,
Like,
"But
what?
stuff that I got going on in my brain right now is like it always supersedes what we see." But that's how life is. That's how prophecy works. That's how vision and dreams work. So when there are some things that I want, so I've put a purpose on a certain amount of seed. There's a seed that I'm actually storing up seeds to sow for what I saw in my spirit tonight. So that's purpose in the seed for where I want to go and things that I want to do. And it's not a small seed, it's a large seed. But not only am I stocking up, I have to save up this seed, or God, I believe God's going to give it. And when it's there, I've already purposed it in my heart that I'm going to sow it, but I have to figure out where I'm going to sow it because I need the ground to be really good and fertile.
Mm-hmm. And then when we're talking about purpose, one of the things about purpose that I found out, I had to determine what was that thing that drives me. What was that caused me to go to bed late at night and get up in the morning? What is that thing that I'm constantly thinking about? So I had to look at my life and see the things that I felt was my purpose. I
Mm-hmm.
always thought my purpose was who I was. I'm somebody's mama, I'm somebody's wife, I'm somebody's sister. But no,
Mm-hmm.
that's not my purpose. That's just a prerequisite of who I am. I do them other things, and that's a wonderful thing. But my
Mm-hmm.
purpose is who God called me to be and what he called me to do.
Right.
And so when I
Right.
began to look at my life, I had to weed out all that other stuff that was choking my purpose. Because if you're not careful with purpose, a lot of stuff would be like the weed and the tear.
Mm-hmm.
They are both green, but one is no good. So I had to do some separation to determine what my purpose was. And me and Nita have talked about this so many times. And there's nothing like walking in your purpose. You will know your purpose when you begin to walk and you have a certain amount of freedom. You feel a certain way. When I come on here, even though it's 9 o'clock, I'm like, boy, I don't feel like it. But when I click live, I come alive because this is what one of the things that God called me to do to encourage people. So your purpose is you have to look at your life as a whole. Nobody can really tell you your purpose. We can tell you how to look to find your purpose. But
Mm-hmm.
begin to look at your life as a whole. What is that thing that pushes you, devil? What is that thing encourage you? Like I have a friend, well, Sharon, I don't know. We go to the store. The first thing she doing go over there with some pots and pans. Girl, look, I ain't gonna. But that's I mean when she thought, oh Nesta, she come in. Look at this pot. I'm like, okay, it's a pot. Oh, that's so. Oh, how gorgeous! Like I be
This
looking
is
like
a
roll.
part of you.
Yeah, I be rolling my eyes, but you know what? That's her purpose. She loves to cook. She get excited. So what is that thing? When the last time you got excited about anything? You know? And so that is the way you really look at your purpose. Look at your life as a whole and make that determination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to answer further, she said, yes, I'm just unsure what God has placed on my heart and mind. And that's what Annette was just alluding to about your God-given purpose. Because the thing is, when your purpose comes to life, I think we said this a while back, and I think like in the very beginning of Movement Worldwide, when we started talking about vision and how when God gives you a vision, you have to step back and envision the vision. And when you envision the vision, you take the vision from vision mode and you step back to envision it, just like a painter who steps back and looks at a blank canvas. Because you'll see a painter just staring at something blank. And in their mind, they're seeing the entire piece of work. They're seeing all the colors, all the shapes, all of the paints and the strokes that they're going to use,
Mm-hmm.
all the shading and everything. And in their mind, it's a completed picture. But all we see is a blank canvas.
Mm-hmm.
But when you envision what you have vision, when God gives you the vision and you envision it, then you can take what you envision all the way to reality, because that's when you're taking your dream to destiny,
Yeah.
because now you stepped into purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have vision, or that what God is giving you as a dream becomes vision and becomes envisioning, and then it goes all the way towards your purpose. That you are living the purpose that God intended for your life, and that's how you can make that connection. I hope that makes sense to you, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we even have a couple of videos on our YouTube that we have gone in depth about that very thing.
Mm-hmm. Because one of the things I had to do, I always, all my life, I used to talk always talk, always.
Mhm.
And it was a while before I determined what I was called to do. But you know what? Even back from when I was a little girl, I always had something to say. And so
Mhm.
now, fast forward years later, that God used that now, and I still talk. So a lot of times you don't always know right away. But
Mhm.
that's why I was saying earlier, when I look at my life, from 5, 10, 15, whatever age, there was different cycles. And as I got old, because I think really, Nita, maybe like in the last 3 years that we really tapped into some things. I
Right.
knew some stuff, we do some stuff, but I'm talking about really tapped
Right.
in. So yeah, so it's
Right.
a process.
Yes, I'm glad it helped you, Adolpha, and I hope that whatever the purpose is, I know you said earlier that your heart is for helping children, but you don't know if it's a plan and purpose for you. God will definitely reveal that to you. And one thing, Annette said this earlier. I don't know if you heard it when she said it. That it's the thing that you go to bed at night thinking about, and when you wake up in the morning, you're still thinking about it. And when you're on your job, you still can't get it off your mind. You can't shake it. That's because it's supposed to be something that you're supposed to be doing. It's not just there just to nag you. It's not just that when it goes past just the desire, something you just think about, oh, I think I'll do this. No, that thing that you can't get off your mind, that you can't shake, that everything you see on television, everything you hear on the radio, everything you see going down the street reminds you of it, that's purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the scriptures I wanted to share with you guys too is Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no
Mhm.
work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. In other words, it's saying whatever you find to do, do it now. Because once you're gone, you're gone. So
Okay.
work while it's day. And also Hosea 10:12 says, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up the fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord till he come and rain righteousness upon you. So we have it's sowing season.
Hmm.
Work while you can, because tomorrow is not promised. And
Hmm.
so it's so important to sow those seeds, whatever those seeds are. And I promise you, I promise you, he'll tell you. I promise you, he will. You
And
know,
this is the season, though.
yeah,
And
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
season when you're even naturally when you think about it, because everybody's preparing their garden. I got dirt coming to start my garden over.
Oh,
I
you
grow.
do?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start. Well, I have some things I have to repot. I have some beets and some Brussels sprouts growing in the house that I have to repot. But yeah, I'm getting ready to replant tomatoes and cucumbers and all those things because this is the season. It's the season to sow, and the spring rain is coming. So I got to get my seeds ready and start germinating so I can get things in the ground. So the thing is, when it's the season to sow seeds, you have to sow, whether it's into yourself, whether it's into others, whether it's into ministry, whether it's time with your children, time just getting to know what their dreams are instead of waiting till their senior year and saying, well, what are you gonna major in? It's time to like really, you gotta. The Bible says, work the works of them while it is day, for when night comes, no man can work. Like she's
Yeah,
coming from Ecclesiastes, to everything there's a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. You have got to know when the time is to sow, because when it's reaping time, everybody be looking with their hand out and it's not a whole lot of stuff. What did you do in seed time?
yeah, yeah.
What did you
And
do
I
in
think,
seed time?
yeah, I think one of the things was because of the pandemic this last year. I did a lot of reflection. I didn't always have the answers, but this pandemic, and I was forced to be home because I would have been out running around to stores because I like to shop. I did, but then it got to the point I couldn't go shopping. I
Right.
couldn't. So, and I started thinking about, okay, what I need to do, what I need to do this time, because I had a lot of valuable time that I didn't use correctly. Because I just like go to stores, and so that was another thing for us, and we had to change our whole format. You know, and so
Yes.
a sowing and the seed, it's a process. It took me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking, I say it took me years. Oh my gosh, to figure it out, but I figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm walking in it, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I appreciate all the comments and tonight. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. And my prayer is I want to put this one back up. That when it's prepared for a plant water harvest. Yeah, that's what we do, plant, water, harvest. And so I don't, unlike Anita, I don't know, I don't be out there planting no seeds and stuff. But
But I
but I
have a
have
yard.
but
I do a
but I
pot
had
garden.
but you but yeah, but I have plants. I got about 4 or 5, and they're very green and beautiful. So hey, but whatever you do, do your best. Strive for. We are not perfection, but strive to do the best. We try to bring the best information. We try to make sure that we're not on here just talking off the top of our head. We even when we come on Wednesday night on the movement, we put information together to be helpful. Because uh, most of you guys, I'm sure you got your churches and you got that. So now we want to bring you some information to take and put on top of what you've already learned. Because this thing is real, and this world is real, and the situation is real,
Yes.
difficulty is real, and the foolishness showing up in real. But you know what? Through it all, we've still been blessed and still growth. You know how much I grow. My growth was better in last year than it had ever been.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, with all the turmoil and all the foolishness. It was needed, obviously, for some of us, to
Mm-hmm.
really grow and produce. Look, we produce and did all kind of stuff. But anyway,
Mm-hmm. Well, I
so
want to
it
say
is.
something. I don't know if you're getting ready to end, but I want to say
Oh, go
something.
ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to just let you know I want to say something before
Oh,
you
go
end.
ahead. No, no, ma'am. I'm finished.
Well, before she does her closing, I want to say this because I said it earlier, and I'm not, and she has no idea I'm going to say this. Trust me, because she didn't. First of all, to her bringing me on here was a last minute thing. Because at first I said no because
She's.
I came on behind. We're working in our program that we use for all of our broadcasting, so I came on to help her to make sure that the comments and the banners and stuff were going up. And I told her last week I was going to come on and help her. And she said, "Oh, you should have come." But I didn't want to distract her. So I was like, well, I know if I come in, she would see me, but nobody else would. So I came on, but my hair was in two little buns. Well, not two. Look, I have a lot of hair, but it was in these two big buns like Mickey Mouse because I had a sleep study last night and I had to wash my hair and I couldn't put product in it. So I was like, no, no, no. So I felt bad and I went in the bathroom and brushed it up in a bun. I said, obvious. That's a shame that she asked me and I can't go on. I said, I need to go and pull it together so I can go on and speak if she wants me to speak. However, so I'm grateful for that. So she has no idea. But I said all of this that to say this. If you are on here listening tonight, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, and if you are listening, I know if you're like me, you have been blessed and you're here, especially if you're repeating. If you've been here week after week after week, then you're what they call it in prison world a repeat offender. But you're a repeat receiver. So if you're on here, you've been, quite a bit. So you believe in what she is doing. You believe in the word that comes out of her mouth. You believe in her as a woman of God, as a quotologist, as an author, as a transformational coach, all of the wonderful things that she does. I'm asking you personally to hit that cash app and sow a seed.
Oh,
Sow a seed into $ Annette L. Anderson. Just take the time, hit the cash app. I just put it on the bottom. It's $ Annette L. Anderson on Cash App. Almost lottie dottie and everybody has a cash app. So sow a seed into Annette L. Anderson because listen, that's what we're talking about, sowing into good soil. Because the seed that has been sown into your life tonight is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And you'll look up
man.
one day and you'll be pulling some of the same words that came out of her mouth tonight, even in the time of a storm or in the time of triumph. And the Holy Spirit will bring things back to your remembrance. Wow, I heard that on Tuesday Night Talk. So I'm just encouraging everybody to be a blessing into the life of Annette L. Anderson. And if you don't have your copy of her book, Living Life One Quote at a Time, then you need to go to Amazon.com and get it. You can Google it,
Yes.
Living Life One Quote at a Time by Annette Anderson, and it'll pop up that beautiful
Yeah.
blue. So into her life. Because I've done both. I sold on Cash App and I have the book and I keep plugging it. So I'm just encouraging everybody else who loves her and who keeps being the repeat receivers to sow into her life. I'm sorry, that's all I wanted to say
Oh, well, well. Thank you very much. That I didn't expect, but that, yeah, you feel free. So, and
tonight.
I'm just silly, yeah. But anyway, I try to stay within my time. I'm so much better. Man, I used to go all over.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's it for tonight. I want to thank Anita so much for coming on and sharing with us because she woman of wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom. She got a story to tell. Yeah. Her book will be coming out later this year, right?
Yes, in the
Yeah,
fall.
her book will be coming out, and we gonna definitely plug it. And I'm looking forward to reading out. I don't sit still long enough to do too much of anything, but I don't. I'm answering, but I am going to make sure I read that book when it comes out because there's a story, and we all have a story. We all have a story, and
Mhm.
learn how to take your story. You don't have to tell all your business, but learn how to take your story and
Mhm.
be a blessing. About every Tuesday I tell a little part of my story, and and I have a certain compassion for young women. I have a compassion for those who struggle with mental illness. I have compassion for those who contemplate uh, things that's not godly. I have a compassion because I've been to all the places. I have a compassion for a young woman, a young girl, 14. I know we want to talk about them, but you don't know their story. You don't
Mhm.
know what it took to be them. I often listen to T.D. Jakes' daughter. What's the youngest daughter name? And how, he struggled when she got pregnant. I think she's like 13 or
Mhm.
something. And
Yes.
he struggled. He said he would have given up his whole ministry for his daughter. And look at her now. So
Bless,
yeah, you
bless
don't
her
know
to
nobody's
see.
story.
Sarah, was it Sarah? Yes, Sarah.
Yeah,
Sarah J. Roberts. She goes by now,
yep.
but she was Sarah, and she got pregnant at 14.
14, yeah. Look at and God is using a great. So just because their story is my story is not your story is not my. Still, oh, missing. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I remember your face. I know who you are. I think it was Malcolm, if I'm not mistaken. But we all got a story. So I want to. I'll be back next. I'll be back next Tuesday, and it's been a blessing. So my name is Annette L. Anderson. And this is a Tuesday Night Talk, TNT. And this is where we take flight. We speak it, orate it, articulate, and reverberate it. And like I said earlier, all of those words is about talking, about opening our mouths and about saying something. So maybe you should begin to open your mouth and tell yourself something positive. Because most of us already told ourselves what we can't do. When was the last time you said what you can do? That I am an overcomer, that I'm more than a conqueror, that I can make it. I can be anything that God said I could be. So learn how to open up your mouth and take the negativity out of what you got to say and soar. Speak it, orate it, articulate it, and reverberate it. So thank you so much, and I'm so appreciative for you guys being with me tonight. And I'll see you next Tuesday. And oh shit, come on tomorrow night at 7. We'll be on here again. Me, Anita, with the movement, a motivation organization, fear to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 7. Be blessed, everyone.